Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most incredible stories from the ancient Book of Enoch. And I want you to think of this whole thing like a cosmic courtroom drama. Seriously, we've got a crime scene, we've got an indictment, a final verdict, and even a messenger sent to deliver the sentence. It's epic.
So let's set the scene. The story opens with a view from heaven, looking down on a world that is just completely off the rails. It's not just in a bit of trouble, it's drowning in violence and total lawlessness. This is our crime scene, and the scale of the chaos is just off the charts.
So here's our roadmap for this whole cosmic trial. We're going to start at the crime scene, this chaotic Earth. Then we'll hear the appeal that gets made to the High Court of Heaven. We'll look at the indictment against these fallen angels, the Watchers, and then the good stuff, the divine verdict, the plan to restore everything, and finally, the mortal man who has to deliver the sentence.
All right, let's kick things off with part one, an Earth in chaos. So at our crime scene, we have four primary witnesses. These are the archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel. They're peering down from the heavens, and what they see is so horrifying it forces them to act.
The suffering is so bad, the text uses this incredible image. The earth itself is literally crying out. And it's not just the living who are in agony. The souls of the dead are described as plaintiffs, marching up to the gates of heaven to plead their case and demand justice.
So, all of this leads directly to our second section, the appeal to the High Court. Seeing this absolute horror show, the four archangels don't just, stand by and watch. Nope, they step up to become advocates for all of humanity.
They take this case straight to the top, to the ultimate authority, who the text calls the Most High and the Lord of the Ages. They basically walk in and say, "You have got to see this." They lay out all the evidence, with the cries of those dead souls as Exhibit A.
Okay, now for the indictment. So, who exactly is on trial here? Well, the archangels point the finger directly at a group of celestial beings known as the Watchers. These are angels who completely abandon their heavenly duties. And there are two very distinct sets of charges against them.
And this is fascinating. The indictment splits the crimes into two categories. On one hand, you've got this angel, Azazel. His crime was intellectual. He revealed forbidden knowledge, these eternal secrets from heaven that humanity just wasn't meant to have. And then you have Samlazaz and his crew. Their crime was carnal. They came down to earth, had relations with human women, and corrupted themselves. Two totally different sins, but both with disastrous results.
And the consequences? Oh, they were catastrophic. The union between these Watchers and human women resulted in the birth of giants. This, plus all that forbidden knowledge, basically unleashed a tidal wave of violence and corruption that just consumed the entire world. Those lamentations of the dead we heard about? Yeah, they are the direct result of this angelic rebellion.
Which brings us to the main event, the divine verdict. The case has been heard, all the evidence is in, and now the Most High, the Holy and Great One, is ready to pass sentence. And let me tell you, it is incredibly specific.
Look at how this judgment is handed down. It's not some blanket punishment. Each sentence is perfectly tailored. Uriel gets sent to warn Noah, making sure a righteous bloodline survives. Raphael's job is to bind Azazel and chuck him into total darkness. Gabriel is tasked with turning evil against itself, making the giants destroy one another. And Michael has to bind Samlazaz and his followers. Every sentence fits the crime.
And get this, the sentence for Samlazaz and his buddies is unbelievably specific. They are to be bound in the valleys of the earth for 70 generations. That's a huge span of time. And it's not just forever, it's a measured long-term sentence that has a very clear endpoint, leading to a final judgment in an abyss of fire. It's justice that is both incredibly severe and weirdly precise. But this whole verdict isn't just about punishment. As we're about to see, it's also about a massive restoration project. After the guilty get their sentences, the focus shifts entirely to healing the world that they nearly destroyed.
So the Most High lays out this really clear step-by-step plan. First, you get rid of all the evil. Then, you plant a new foundation of righteousness and truth. The survivors, like Noah and his family, are going to thrive. The earth itself is going to be cleansed physically and spiritually, getting it ready for a brand new era where everyone lives the right way.
And this new world is promised to be just unbelievably abundant. The text gives this incredible ratio. For every 1 measure of seed you plant, you're going to harvest 1,000.
It's a vision of a world that is not just healed, but is overflowing with blessings, a total 180 from the blood-soaked land it used to be.
And here's the most important part. This isn't just some temporary fix. The verdict promises a permanent state of harmony. The whole goal is to create a world where truth and peace are woven together, not just for a little while, but forever, for all future generations. But that leaves one final, and for my money, the most fascinating part of this whole drama. Who delivers the sentence? We see how the divine judgment gets communicated to the condemned, and it's not an archangel. It's a mortal man. This is where Enoch enters the story. He's called Enoch the scribe and the scribe of righteousness, and he gets the absolutely terrifying job of going straight to the fallen watchers. Can you imagine? A human being walking up to these incredibly powerful, rebellious angels and reading them their eternal damnation, face to face, starting with Azazel himself.
And their reaction is immediate. The once proud watchers, the ones who defied heaven itself, are completely and utterly broken. The text says they were seized with fear and trembling. They're so ashamed, they can't even look up to heaven anymore, so they beg the human, Enoch, to write a petition for mercy for them. The tables have completely turned.
And that brings us to our final thought. What does it mean that a human was chosen for this job? Just try to put yourself in Enoch's shoes for a second. Imagine what it would be like to be the mortal messenger, tasked with reading a final, unchangeable judgment from God to these immortal and now terrified beings. What a powerful and deeply human ending to a truly cosmic courtroom drama.